And we're back.
Back in action.
Looney Tunes back in action.
Except for not the Looney Tunes, because that's like copyright, right?
Yeah, okay. Scratch that. We didn't say it.
We said it, but I mean, we also said we're not the Looney Tunes, so
No,
it's like.
yeah, no copyright. All right. Welcome. Thank you for tuning in again to Fine and Dandy with your favorite co-hosts, Daniel.
And Joshy Pants.
Yep, we're here to talk about things and discuss topics that we hope you enjoy. Of course, don't take everything take everything that you hear with a grain of salt because I'm not going to necessarily say you're going to agree with everything we have to say,
You will, though.
hopefully. And if no, you shouldn't. You shouldn't. You shouldn't agree with everything we say. You should question everything we say and do your own research and find out for yourself.
That's good advice, but I'm going to say that you should listen to everything we say.
Find your own truths, people.
Fuck it.
Even if you love us, you should definitely listen to yourself and find your own truth.
He's not wrong, but also, fuck it.
All right, well, let's get on started here. So, before we get into everything, give our shout outs as per usual. Starting with LERP TV. If you don't know, they do vlogs. Great group of people. They're definitely interesting. Always out there. It's a new adventure every day. LERP TV, I believe, is the same thing on Twitter as it is on Instagram as well. Go give those folks a follow.
Then next up, we got Reezus, Reedy, with his Twitch gaming channel. Has been going crazy lately. Him and our boy Chance have been playing a lot of Apex together, as well as his some other games that he plays. What's his actual Twitch name?
It's Reezus Christ.
Reezus Christ.
Reezus Christ.
Right there you go. Yeah, go check homie out. He's doing real great. He's doing his thing out there, staying fucking committed to the cause.
Consistent, and he does a good job, especially if you really enjoy gaming. Check out Chance Maynard as well, which is one of our roommates who also games, does a great job.
I believe his gamer tag is Fatality. I don't know what his name on Twitch is though.
We can figure that out, and we'll definitely post it up in the video.
It's Fatality, F-A-Y, Fatality.
And also Clutch Factory, one of our good friends, Brad Woodard.
The homie Brad, getting his personal training in. If you want some personal training from a actual college football player, made a standing at TSU, and also is continuing his workouts and actually doing a great job getting some people in shape.
Yeah, if you're looking for physical fitness and looking for staying in shape, that's someone you should definitely check out. He'll definitely put you to work, and you might cry a little bit, but it'll be worth it.
It's a
No
good
pain,
cry.
no
It's a
gain.
good cry. The
Exactly.
cry you need, not the cry you want. Or I don't think you ever want to cry, but
Maybe you want to cry. No pain, no gain, baby.
then next is Court Vision. Me, Brad, and Chance all have a basketball podcast. The basketball season has just come to an end, but we are going to continue our podcast throughout the off season. Going to keep you all updated with any basketball news as well as other sports. We're going to dive into some new shit, so you guys pay attention. We'll have that out for you.
And last but not least, our good friend Pochango, aka Carlos Quintero. I think I said that wrong. It'd be Carlos Quintero, aka Pochango,
There you go.
however you want to look at it. But he definitely is about to drop a new tape October 31st on Halloween. It's going to be a trap tape, so if that's something you're interested in, makes amazing music, production, fire, on point, never fails, I promise you. Something you should definitely check out.
You're missing out if you don't.
It's going to be gas. It's going to be so good, I promise.
Goal.
Go. All right. So what we got? The world still in a spiraling loop. It's not gotten much better, I guess. Things are closed. Things are reopening. Here in Texas, they said that bars are about to open, but we live in Texas, so I feel like all the bars have already been open.
I mean, didn't they change it to where you could be a bar could open as long as they serve food, which makes them technically a restaurant. So you'd see bars having hot pockets, pizza rolls, fucking toast, chips and salsa at a fucking dive bar. It's wait, you guys didn't have this last week.
Okay, I might get hate for this for sure, but I went to a pool hall. Social distancing was enforced and masks were enforced, of course. If that makes anyone feel any better, probably not. But I think the funniest part was they did sell food, but due to COVID rules, they said they brought me a drink, right? And then a bag of chips. I was like, I didn't order this bag of chips. She's like, oh no, due to COVID protocols, we bring a bag of chips with every drink so that we're serving food. That way we make sure that we stay open.
Did they like add a price to the drink for the bag of chips? Like trying
No.
to trying to make up for like
No, you just
lost
get
money?
it's just free bags of chips. Which I wasn't
Damn.
complaining about. I'd take a let's take a
But
bag
still,
of
it's
chips.
kind of unconventional.
It's a little weird, yeah. I mean, it is kind of funny. Dive bar selling hot pockets.
That shit's funny as fuck. Like whenever you walk in and like you like look at the menu, obviously like bars got like wings and burgers and shit like that. But like at the very bottom in the bottom corner, it's like pizza rolls.
I haven't seen the pizza rolls yet, but that would definitely be.
The hot pockets one was funny as fuck because they were selling like one hot pocket for like $4, and a pack is like $1.99.
That's what I'm saying. You can get a 2-pack for at least probably like $1. So what kills me is at some point I feel like there's somewhere like some bar out there that's selling Tyson chicken nuggets.
They gotta be. What kills me is that these bars are selling like this shit that we know is cheaper, so they can stay open. So like for them to be able to have business as usual, they gotta serve extra shit. Now they're making us pay double for that extra shit as well. It makes no sense.
I mean, at that point, it's just supply and demand. How hungry are you?
Not at all. I came to a bar for some beer. It's like, well, how hungry are you though?
I mean, I'm sure there's someone who's gonna be like, I'm starving, but I don't feel like leaving.
Yeah.
I'll take a $4 hot pocket, please.
That's so fucked
That
up.
better be the best hot pocket, $4 hot pocket.
See, like if they
of
were
your
back
life.
there making like some calzones and just called it a hot pocket, I'm cool with that. I'll pay $4 for a calzone or even like a homemade hot pocket.
So
I'll see what you got.
on that note,
But if I know this is a fucking hot pocket from the store that you grabbed out the freezer, I'm gonna say fuck you, dog.
wait, so question: if you have a pepperoni hot pocket, is that technically a calzone?
I would say so. I would say a calzone is pretty much like a folded piece of pizza.
It's just a lot of bread. You know what I mean? I guess, but like a hot pocket kind of. I mean, if you get a pizza hot pocket, is that not a calzone?
I mean, I would say it is. I would
I'd
say
say
it's
it-
for sure a calzone, but then you have to then you're entering the conversation to say, well, does that make a ham and cheese hot pocket a ham and cheese calzone?
Or at that point, if it's a ham and cheese hot pocket, is it a ham and cheese sandwich? Because it's either
We're back to this
is
argument.
it a sandwich or a calzone at that point? Because I mean, it's surrounded by. I mean, no, it's not 2 pieces of bread.
It's
Well, no, because you can have 3 pieces of bread on the sandwich.
so it's 2 or more.
But then it's just like, I guess a hot pocket's like 1, just whole thing. So I think it'd be more of a calzone than a sandwich.
Right.
Okay. We'll settle at calzone.
Is it really just like a ham and cheese quesadilla?
No,
No.
it's not tortilla.
No,
It's
is
not
it though?
tortilla.
We don't know what they put in that breading.
Hey, Hot Pockets, tortilla-based Hot Pockets. Then you can really call it, if you had a ham and cheese Hot Pocket made with tortillas, would that be a ham and cheese quesadilla? At
Or
that
a
point?
burrito.
Yeah, it'd be more, I think that's a burrito.
More of a burrito.
That'd be a
right? 'Cause it's like
burrito.
more handheld.
That's exactly. That would be some real shit, man. Just to be tortilla, but call it a hot pocket. This is a burrito. I wouldn't be surprised though.
That'd be kind of dope though. Like if you, not dope for you, but like if you went to the bar with your friend and they ordered a fucking burrito, and a fucking hot pocket came out, like, like Jesus, I wouldn't. My fault, that's me. But I wouldn't be able to like not laugh at my friends are paying for that shit
That'd be hilarious.
for sure.
Well, don't give the bars any ideas out here to start selling just off the wall food to stay open. Well, I mean the bars are gonna start opening again, where they don't have to sell food. So they're like, all right, we can ditch the hot pockets now. We're just full force, just doing what we want to do.
Yeah.
I mean, other than that too, what else we got? Breonna Taylor's case. They finally made a verdict on the police officers, which they didn't basically get convicted of. Well, they did. One of them did get convicted, but not of.
It was like some endangerment charge for like shooting into a household from
Yeah,
the outside or something like that.
It was basically, you have to see your target in order to shoot at him, and supposedly when he basically was shooting.
Through a window with like closed blinds or something.
Is essentially, yeah. So no, he was like when he was coming in, yeah, he couldn't see it, like like around the corner type of thing, just shooting, but you have to be able to see when you're doing when you're in a situation such as the police officers were at that moment. You're supposed to be able, especially if you're coming in with a warrant. You can't just be shooting.
Also, it's like a residence. It's not like you're just shooting at like a fucking firing range.
This
You're
isn't
going into a residence like.
It's not like a shootout where it's a criminal, you know, a bank robbery. It's, you know, where you just, you know,
Right.
you're in a house. You're there for one person. You know what I mean?
If
You're
it
not-
escalates, it escalates. But for you to just escalate a situation and start shooting into a household, then it's a little bit like I'm for sure that's a charge. But like where I'm at is just like how does somebody get convicted for shooting into a place and then the person that put bullets in a person didn't get charged? And if that is the same person, how was
He
the
did.
charge not that?
I mean, it's a tough. So I was reading into it a lot because I wanted to get the basis of the facts. Because at first I was just hearing like people tell me pieces of the story, and none of them added up in any kind of way. So one person would tell me this was or I'd get on Twitter and read this is what happened from people posting stuff, and nobody's stories ever were adding up. You know, as well.
Right.
So I was trying to think what really happened here. I wanted to get to the bottom of this. So I kind of read into it. Essentially, from the multiple news sources that I had read, you know, that are supposed to be non-biased, for as far as I know, you know, just be clear beforehand. I don't know. This is just based off of what I've read as well. And facts change from the beginning to now as well. So to say that they're 100% true.
Which that in itself is kind of ridiculous. It's like how long do we need from the action itself to the verdict before we actually know anything about what's going on? Like we're dealing with so many different news sources. We're also dealing with like people that really don't know the situation, that speaking on it from their point of view, like they were there or they were involved, and then maybe they weren't. So it's hard to like. What I'm saying is like, why is it like that we have? This is a rhetorical question. I'm gonna let you continue, but it's like it makes no sense to me why we are so misinformed on shit that like this that really matters. Like whenever it comes to a situation like this, like any person could like necessarily be in that position where a cop like feels like they're supposed to be there, they have too much power, they start shooting through a fucking window. Like when you see something like that, you're like, fuck man, I don't feel safe. Like that's fucked up. The cops are really doing shit like this. The justice system's fucked up. But go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, yeah, you're good. So essentially, hold on real quick, I gotta sneeze, give me a moment.
The quietest sneeze of all time.
Alright, we got that taken care of.
Bless you.
Thank you, sir. Alright. So essentially, yeah, of course, it didn't get the verdict that everyone wanted, was to charge him with murder, you know?
Right.
Because it could be anybody, you know? Everyone wants to say, oh, they were in the wrong, you know, this whole left, I'm on the right, I don't care. Political views at this point shouldn't really matter. It should be more of like a humane thing of put yourself in a position to where, what if it, you know, just let's say, for instance, it was you know what I mean? Someone busting your house. And, okay, I'm going to give the facts here before I go any further, actually. So, essentially, what, like, finally was, you know, the evidence that was put out and what they said happened was this. So, Breonna Taylor, her ex, right, was essentially involved in drugs and stuff.
Okay.
And supposedly had picked up a package recently from her house, which they say was just clothes that she left outside for him to pick up, you know, because they're not together anymore.
Okay.
So he came to pick up the clothes. And so essentially they had a warrant for him, right? But also they were like, they had a warrant for her place because he used to stay there, you know what I mean?
Okay.
But he was no longer staying there.
Okay.
She was with her current boyfriend at the time.
Okay.
And so they supposedly they did announce themselves, right? And he didn't hear it, but they did announce themselves the first time. He didn't hear that. They kept knocking, and
Is there before you go any further? Is there any witnesses that can say that happened that didn't have a badge on?
I think there was one.
Like like someone that was an outsider.
There was like one neighbor. There was one neighbor that did say,
heard them warn like they were coming in.
It was weird though, because at first someone said they did, and they said that didn't. So that one's kind of off. And then so
what I'm saying is,
once
it's
again,
like if I'm a police officer who does something wrong, all I have to do is be like, "Hey, you got me right." It's like all my buddies, and it's like, all right, fuck it, let's break the law. We're all in this together. Nobody's gonna say nothing. Nobody got their body camera on, right? All right, bet.
That's what was weird too, though, because there was one person who basically said that was a neighbor, you know, that said one way, but then changed their mind and said the other, you know.
And see, yeah, that's
so it's like,
weird.
Did you hear him or did you not hear him? So then things get kind of fuzzy, and then you just don't.
It's weird because it's like once things get fuzzy, it's so easy to discredit like a point of view because it's like, oh, you don't remember shit. Okay, I can't believe anything you say because you said it this way, but now you're saying it this way. I'm gonna just discredit both opinions just because I know I can't trust you.
It's tough, and then so they announced themselves, right? Didn't hear him, and being this is the story that's been told. So being her boyfriend at the time, he knows of her past, her ex and stuff. And this guy's potentially dangerous as well, could bust in. He carries a weapon as well.
But it's not the same guy. It's her new boyfriend.
No, I'm saying her new boyfriend thought it was her ex-boyfriend.
Oh,
Like knocking,
okay.
like knocking loudly. So he pulls out his gun, you know what I mean? And if you don't hear police at that point in time, which this is all at this point, this is all hearsay. You're going by what everyone's saying. So it's a tough decision. And of course, if you lean more one way or the other, you're going to take whoever side that is at this point. So given both sides, it's kind of hard to take either because we don't exactly know 100%. We're only going off of what we're hearing.
Right.
But so then when he comes in, or the police bust in, this guy, her current boyfriend's thinking at first,
It's
this is a potential danger. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, this is next. So he's carrying a gun, and I believe he fires, and then the police officer, that he doesn't see anybody, he just starts shooting. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't see, so like he comes around, just starts shooting, start blasting, and I think that goes into like other apartments as well, and then that's how he ends up killing. Because the question was for me for a long time, how do you shoot the wrong? How you just shoot her when she doesn't even have the gun or the weapon? He wasn't even looking; he was just shooting.
And see, like whenever I hear this story, it's like, oh man, it's so hard to call that facts just because it's mostly hearsay without there being a body camera or any type of like situation where we can see as a public what actually happened inside that apartment or hear or understand without having to just say, oh yeah, that one cop said this, or oh yeah, that neighbor confirmed it. It's like, for me, it's like, fuck, man, this seems so staged. Like to me, it just seems like an innocent black woman got killed, and the cops just made up the best story that sounded like it would work. Paid off a couple people and just made it happen.
I mean,
of course, it's extremely speculative.
but where I'm at as well is yeah, no, for sure,
it's extremely speculative,
especially given multiple circumstances that have happened recently. It's definitely a lot easier to believe that. And just to play, I guess, devil's advocate on that side is because I'm not a person who's going to go one way or the other. Some people see that being indifferent as you choosing a side. But what I'm saying is I'm going to always follow truth before I try to follow one side or the other.
Right. And
so where I'm at too, though, is if someone is, like, of course, on his behalf, if you don't know it's the police, I'm going to defend my home.
Correct.
And let's say you just, police, I announce myself, you know what I mean?
Correct.
Bust in, then it's, come on, you got to, most of the time it's got, police, open up, you know what I mean?
I mean, yeah, usually it's not just an announcement, it's also a waiting period, another announcement, the waiting period, a warning.
Something.
A warning. If you don't open up, we're coming in. It's usually a couple of, don't get me wrong, I'm not completely studied or well read on protocols, but for me, that's what I've been been led to understand. It's usually a waiting period between the first knock and the warning and the entering of the apartment. So what I'm saying is there's so many things about this case that just don't make sense. So to say that that you're gonna follow the truth is like, who's giving you that truth? Even if that truth is supported by 7 different sources, it's like, well, we're talking about like a major case that could disrupt, not just could disrupt, has disrupted the social life of living in America. Not completely, because racism has been at this height for a long time, but to this level of social justice happening in our streets, protests and things like that. This has been one of the predominating factors that have caused those protests, as well as George Floyd, as well as a couple of others that have happened, Ahmaud Arbery, and some others that have happened. It's like, this case is for me to say I believe in the truth, not necessarily taking sides, is for me to have the truth, and for me to say that all of these different truths or facts that don't make sense, it's like, well, maybe that's just a lie. Yeah, and they're calling it a fact because it provides an agenda.
Yeah, but where I was going with it is the fact.
No, I know what you're saying.
I hadn't gotten there yet. Was the fact of when they busted in. Of course, yeah, they should have announced yourself more, is what I'm saying. And you should have had a body cam. It should be illegal in a situation. I feel like everyone should have a body cam for a simple fact of those things happening. And from the multiple articles I read, they did only announce, pretty much came to the point they announced themselves once. Right. At best.
Right.
So with that being said, of course, a lot of that is terrible. You know what I mean? That
Right.
led to what happened. But where I'm was going with it is you bust into their house, right? You do have a warrant, okay? You are doing your job. I mean, they're not saying they did the job best of their ability. They did it pretty poorly. They cut around a lot of corners.
You're doing your job by being there. You're not doing your job by firing your weapon.
Yeah, no. But where I'm at is when they came in, someone's firing at you. At that point, also, it's life or death. You know, okay,
You're
look,
also a trained police officer with a weapon in hand that can kill people. Why are you shooting it? Oh, I can't see who I'm shooting at. I'm gonna just shoot.
That's
that's not right. And what for that to be the charge instead of, oh wait, in doing that you killed somebody. That's not the charge. The murder, and also where I'm at is that I don't know how many cops are there, but every cop with their body cam turned off should be arrested.
I believe, yeah.
And so at that point, it's like for me to see like, well, what would you do if you were that police officer? Well, what I would do is maybe follow protocol, maybe understand my training, and if I haven't had training, do nothing. Be in the back of the line, not the front. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
And so it's where I'm at is like police officers are so willing to control the situation, they don't even think of like the repercussions, implications, or what they're actually doing there. Because what about them catching this drug dealer or getting the like contraband at Breonna Taylor's house was so important that they need to fire their weapon? Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that the justice system shouldn't have the availability to have search warrants. What I'm saying is that going into that search warrant, you know that it's probably a potential danger. But if you're not comfortable with your own weapon and you don't know situations like that to where you're gonna walk in and just start firing randomly, you shouldn't be there. And if you are there, you shouldn't be leading the pack. There has to be better like judgment calls because that judgment call was horrible. And like if we want to call it a judgment call, then that's like us being unbiased at this point because it almost seems like a fucking targeted attack. The way that the facts are coming out. It's like we're going into this drug dealer's house. We're going to not barely announce ourselves. We're going to just walk in, essentially, and just get shot at so we can kill somebody.
Where I'm at is also it wasn't a drug dealer.
Or what I'm saying is like the ex-boyfriend. Exactly. So what I'm trying to say is that their plan was to go get this dude at his old ex-girlfriend's house because the package just came there, or whatever the case may be for their plan. At the end of the day, if they're going in there to shoot somebody, it's a lot different than going in there to gain evidence for a case. Because you saying police, knock, knock, or even police, knock, 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 and then busting in right after that, that's not protocol. If it is, then we need to change some protocols.
And especially if I'm asleep and you say it one time, I'm going to probably wake up to the knocking rather than you saying police. You know what I mean?
Right.
If we're already sleeping, police, probably didn't hear that first fact, but the fact that you keep knocking after that is probably what I'm going to wake up to.
And see, it's like, what's crazy for me is how, like, misguided this like, whole case has become because it's like, people are acting like we don't need better, like, police reform. I'm not saying we should completely defund the police. I'm saying stop paying for tanks. Stop paying for shit that doesn't matter. Start paying for training. Start paying for shit like that so we can actually get change. Because keeping, like, the cops, to become a cop, it only takes 6 months to fucking go through a fucking little program. That is not cool. That is not okay.
Think about
that is not okay.
Think about the recent case that just happened with, I believe it's in Texas.
Oh, yeah, that was in Texas.
Where he stopped a fight.
Stopped the fight.
Went to go shake the police.
It wasn't even. I think it was. It wasn't. They said stop the fight, but I think what it actually was is that a woman was getting like manhandle type shit, and he stepped in and stopped that. And because there was an altercation outside, the cops got called. The altercation was him stopping the other person from like hurting a woman. I believe that's what I read. Which is fucked up.
And then you end up dead.
Right. And I was reading some stories about the guy. It was one of the Astros. I forgot which Astro it was, but he was like really good friends with this dude. They went to high school together, went to college together and stuff. He posted something on Facebook. It was really like heartbreaking, but it's crazy because it's like how many more? Like it's like the same message like I was seeing on a bunch of NBA players like jerseys. Like how many more? Until something happens, something changes. It's like we're gonna keep talking about it, and we're gonna keep protesting, and we're gonna keep like the movement going. Don't get it twisted, but how many more have to die? How many more have to get injustices before something changes? It's good that the people are changing and that they want change out of the system, but when is the system gonna like falter and actually do something besides this or that, this or that? Like it's just like you're just speaking on it. You're not even speaking the truth on it. You're just speaking on it. You're not doing anything. You're not giving any people any facts. You're just talking.
It's most people.
No, I'm talking about the media,
Yeah,
the
it's
people in
most
power, the people that have the availability to change things.
Oh, they're not. Yeah, no.
They're just speaking on this shit instead of trying to send a message, instead of trying to be vocal in a positive manner. It's just words. It's just headlines. It's just stories that for articles to get written. It's like, what? Where is this going? Turmoil.
I'm already there.
I mean, right, but I'm saying, where does it go from here? Unless people start the train to change, it's never gonna. That caboose is never gonna pass the station.
Where I'm at is, so when it comes to anyone dying, instead of people saying first things first, or saying making the political thing, or saying, oh, what did they do? In my head, I'm thinking, we're all human. Seeing a person die should rattle you, unless that person was a mass murderer, or maybe they are killing people, a drug lord potentially, and are rapists. Then maybe it's still not necessarily losing a human life should still matter to anybody. In those cases, you might feel a little less bad because they were super terrible people. But just everyday people getting shot in you, what are they? You know what I mean? Traffic stop at best, and then you're like, they should have listened. Bro, they weren't armed.
And
They should have listened. Warrants death. Are you kidding me? Okay, how about next time you say,
even if they were armed, bro, look at all the white people showing up to protest with fucking M4A1s, AR-16s, like all kinds of shit. It's like, oh, wait, I see an armed person right there, Mr. Officer. You don't seem the bit least amount of worried for your life or scared or even on edge type shit. You're comfortable. What's the difference? Unarmed black kid playing with a toy gun, completely not completely full grown adult, 17-year-old teen with a gun starts murdering people in the streets. Tamir Rice didn't get the same respect that white people are giving that murderer.
nowhere near. Or how about
not even a
anti-maskers?
sliver.
Like the people anti-maskers on that. I won't wear a mask. All right, a police officer shoots you for not wanting to wear a mask. Oh, you should have complied. You should have listened.
And see,
come on now.
You got to keep that same energy if you want to come with that, because it's not this all the way around. And for people to say that or they should have complied, or how do you know like that they weren't armed or anything like that? It's like, oh, so you just don't care about human lives. First of all, you just don't give a shit. Secondly, you're not putting yourself in these people's shoes because you feel like you would never have to. That's privilege in itself. You feeling like anything could not happen to you because of this or that is a privilege. I'm not saying it's all race related, because there's other privileges as well, but for someone to be able to like, oh, it would never happen to me, why would I care? Or like for anyone to speak from a position of why would I care, they're speaking from a position of it would never happen to me.
That is a privilege in itself that people want to try to avoid.
And it's like where I'm at is that instead of avoiding your privilege, you should use it to make sure that other people are just as franchised as you are. There's so many disenfranchised groups of people in this country, and it's hilarious how we don't recognize that and do anything about it. Not hilarious in the way, haha, it's hilarious like, I'm laughing at the government, I'm laughing at the people in power, I'm laughing that we put them there, I'm laughing at all of this shit, because it's like, how can we change anything if we don't start somewhere? We're choosing not to start each and every day.
And it's crazy. I mean, we've seen, I'm saying this from all sides too, so much hate rise up in people. Of course, I'll say this, coming off of where people say you can't be racist against white people, I mean, I'll agree in the sense of, it's more so hatred that's come from years of oppression and years of what typically white people have done to minorities. I mean, if you look at a lot of these third world countries,
right?
I mean, why have you ever thought about why some of these countries are third world countries? It's not only their people in power, it's a lot of those bigger European, America, like bigger
The
white
com-
prone majority countries.
the companies that we get taught are called countries.
Think about this: South Africa. How was that run by white people?
England, mostly.
Dominate. You came in and did what? You know what I mean?
Right.
Come on now. It's just at a point when you look at what they've done to minorities and stuff. It's hard to not have hate towards those people for the hate and disrespect they've had for so many. But where I'm at is due to the past and the buildup of all this, hate on both sides has just increased more and more, or really on all sides.
Right.
Hate for everybody at this point. Everyone is like, where's that getting anybody?
It's like,
Where's that taking us?
it's weird because it's like whenever segregation ended, it seemed like people were on like a positive like a mountain on the way up, kind of like a coming towards like actual change. You know what I mean? But now it's like, and I'm not saying that it was that sudden, but now in today's world, it's like people are choosing to segregate themselves. It's like I don't want anything to do with those people over there. Instead of I can't go hang out with those people over there. You know what I mean? It's like it used to be in a position of like whites and blacks, and now it's like it's in the position of like whites and minorities and like predominantly black people as well, African Americans. It's like now we're in a position of seeing like for good reason in some cases for good reason of course like all these white Trump supporters. I'm just like I can't hang out with you. Sorry. But also it's like the people that are the minorities that are burning cities down, it's like I can't hang out with you either. I agree with your cause and what you're doing, but not necessarily how you're doing it. I don't think that watching a city burn will necessarily make your cause any louder. I don't think it's going to do anything but draw attention to how violent this cause can be instead of attention to how important this cause can be.
You know,
People are losing track of what they should be doing and are just saying, what could I be doing right now? And it's like, I mean, you can do a lot. It doesn't mean you should. You can, like, for example, it's like people can go kill people for not liking them. But if that's not what they should do or would do if they were thinking clearly, then maybe don't.
you shouldn't. What and on that same note, when I'm speaking on hate and all the hate that is built up in everybody and where we've come, I'll say this: it's seen as like a black and white thing. I'm not even just talking about color. I mean like just like light and
right.
or night and day type.
On and off,
yeah, but black and white thing. And where I'm at though is it's coming from all angles, and we like to avoid a lot of the different issues that are going about. When you look at think about all the hate that people have for Muslims because of the leaders in power talking about Muslims of something that happened in 9/11. Just fun fact too, COVID has killed more people than the terrorist attack on 9/11 did at this point in time.
More Americans, because I think it's killed more people, way more people than that. But I think the American count is at that like higher than that number.
Yeah, for sure. And so where I'm at is like just based off of that one thing that happened. Think about all the things that America has done to other countries.
Right.
You know, we were holding on to one thing, and then just the hate that we had for Muslims. Thinking about how the hate we had for Japanese for the longest time due to Pearl Harbor, but we definitely did them way worse than that one little thing. On top of that, we are still putting kids in cages. Immigration is doing terrible. How have we lost so many children?
America has always loved to take the moral high ground, like they're the best country in the world. It's like they're the only country in the world that have said that setting off an atomic bomb was the necessary decision, and the only country in the world that can say that they provided fear through the hearts of an entire race of people. They're the only country. I mean, nobody else has done that. And then,
I mean, to that extent, yeah, to that extent.
Who else has set off an atomic bomb in a different, kill most,
Nah, yeah, you're right.
What I'm saying is that in itself is like, you could say, I mean, that's one instance. Like, okay, tell that to the people who lost all of their family. And if they didn't, if they got to live with their life, then had radiation poisoning for the next 7 years of their life.
There's some places that still can't.
And what I'm saying is that, like, other places have done nuclear bomb testing and things like that and made some places, like, have high radiation. Don't get it twisted. I'm not saying that other places haven't thought of it.
Chernobyl.
What I'm saying is that people died because of Americans, and Americans got to go to the press and say we won. And when I say people died, I understand that war exists and that people like set their life aside for their country in certain situations. But I'm talking about innocent people. Innocent people died in Nagasaki and Hiroshima, and we said, "Hooray, we won!" I mean, what did we win? Freedom,
Power.
power, and so like, I don't know. You can call me a conspiracy theorist all you want. For anyone to say that like 9/11 at this point was not done by the American government is like, in my opinion, it's like hilarious. I guess you could still say it's speculation. I don't know. That Building 7 shit's kind of crazy though.
This is no. It's definitely always. I mean, most people at this point, if you kind of avoid some of the facts, you're like, it's like.
Where I'm at is it's convenient to avoid the facts.
Always.
And it also is convenient whenever people create facts, and that's what I was kind of getting to earlier. It's that like, man, it's like I would love to believe that the police shouted and said, "Come outside, we're out here, like get out here now, come out with your hands up, do whatever. All right, on 3, we've given you plenty of warning. On 3, we're barging in and we're coming in there." I would love to believe that something like that happened, but I know it didn't. I know that if a neighbor changed their mind about their story, it's because somebody talked to them. It's not because they were like, "Oh, this is how it was. I forgot to tell you before." Like, what? This is a serious matter. Someone died. You forgot? Fuck no. Sorry. Let me see your bank account statement.
Just,
You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know, man. It's like it's really easy to believe what you hear whenever it comes from a respected source, but at the end of the day, it's like question everything. Fuck that.
you should question everything for sure, and it's just
Like I'm questioning how Donald Trump beat the coronavirus in less than 6 days.
he beat it in 3.
What I'm saying is they let him leave the hospital out of quarantine in 6 days.
That's right, but wouldn't even if you beat it, wouldn't it still be contagious?
Weren't you supposed to be in quarantine for 14 days after getting it or being confirmed?
Still in the White House though.
You go back to the White House. He was at the hospital for like 4 or 5 days, and they let him leave to go back to the White House.
Supposedly he used baby tissue to help him get through that as well.
I'm sorry?
Yeah.
Baby tissue.
Yeah, I don't know if
when
it
you
was-
say used baby tissue to get through that,
like it was
like
something
he
they
was
used.
eating it, or like
No,
what are
like,
you
I
talking?
think they used like as a medical treatment. I don't know. They might have made medicine out of it.
Oh, you're
I
talking about like baby skin, like tissue, or like baby? I thought you were talking about like tissues for babies, like blow your nose, but they're like this big.
Tissue, like tissue,
Okay, that's
fetal
different.
tissue.
That's different.
Fetal tissue.
There
It
you
would be
go.
a better way to put it instead of baby
A
tissue.
little bit more scientific. I was
Yeah, it
like
sounds-
baby tissue. That's kind of cute.
Yeah, they use. Achoo! Here you go. Wipe your nose, Donald. Come on, no. This is weird though. Like at that
It's
point,
definitely weird.
if that's a go-to at that point, I am convinced. You know, you definitely don't have a problem using babies for anything, or children for that matter.
Yeah, and it's like that's another thing. It's like, have people forgotten that children are the future? Is it just like
Bro, we're not even worried about education
they
anymore.
took money? Wasn't there like a bill that took more money out of the education like system?
That was in New York, I believe.
Yeah, that's what it was. Maybe not here, but just for that to have happened, I'm just like, oh, y'all really don't give a fuck.
Because think about this. All right, let's for instance, what Donald Trump was talking about bringing jobs back here, factory jobs, you know, giving more Americans jobs. Think about this. You defund the education system, people are less smart. They're more prone to go into those jobs. It's a lot more. Guess what? That's labor, like way more labor. Probably going to barely pay you, maybe pay you $10 an hour. Wow, I mean, over years, if inflation continues, you know what I mean, what's 10 to 12 going to do for you in the years to come?
Well, even regardless of that, if all you know how to do in school is learn how to be a listener, somebody that obeys, like somebody who just does what they're told type shit, and you're taught that what's best to do, like think of like coal miners. It's like, I'm not saying this world doesn't need coal, What I'm saying is if you live in a coal mining town, you grow up thinking I'm gonna be a coal miner if I don't do something to get out of here. And not it's not like so far off from where we live. It's like there's a lot of refineries and like oil like and gas and chemical plants and stuff like that. So people grow up thinking like, well, if I don't go to college, or even if I do go to college, I'm just gonna end up in a plant. And it's like, fuck. Well, I mean, if you take more money out of the education system and take away the option to get out of the town, and like the self option, it's like I'm just a dumbass bug type shit. You know what I mean? It's like it's gonna come to a point where people have no other choice. It's like right now the people like the growing up in these towns still have the option to study their ass off, maybe become an athlete, to get out of their the town like that. Maybe become a musician, do something creative. You can maybe get out of your town like that. But whenever we take that option away, you're left with just working at the coal mines or the factories or whatever it is. And it's like, I mean, at least there's job security, but that's the only thing you're offering me. And so that's what I'm saying. It's not going to matter about inflation because all they have to offer you is money. Enough money to put food on the table for your kids. You can call it a number now, you can call it a number later. It doesn't really matter what that number is. If I can offer you security, I can control you. If I can pay all your bills, your kids' bills, make sure you have enough money for presents on Christmas Day, and make sure you're completely fed with a vacation every year, who wouldn't be happy with that? Well, the answer is everyone should not be happy with that because they could be doing so much more.
I mean, but sometimes security is security is a big thing, and that's
and so that what I'm talking about is if you take money out of education and just funnel it into security, people are going to have two options when they grow up: go to the military or go to the factory. Creatives are going to find you're going to find few and far between creatives at that point because half of being a creative is being educated at least to that creation. Like you don't find basketball players that just that become legends that just like hey, what's this orange ball? Maybe I should put it in the basket. No, it's like most basketball players have a passion in that, and especially at a high level, if they're able to make it to a professional level, they have to be able to know the game, know how to affect the game, and know where the game is going from there, so they can evaluate their body, their performance, their IQ level, and be able to perform tomorrow, not just today. Because if you want to have job security in a creative position, you have to continue to create.
That's facts on a lot of different levels, especially in basketball for sure. Though,
right. Most professions, it's like you want to know to be able to exceed in your levels of or limitations in your profession. You want to know what other people have done in that profession, so you can either do more than they have, or maybe even meet the bare minimum and get up to par.
We'll have to see where we go though, because I mean, even now I think a lot of people don't take enough focus onto education. I mean, even I think when we were in school, it wasn't a big thing.
Right.
How many people you think? Because think about this. In the past, reading was for rich people. Mostly.
Right.
Books weren't cheap.
And it was also it's like not everybody knew how to like read and write. The literacy rate was pretty down.
Yeah, and it's even if I mean, I'm not gonna say it's still great, especially in America.
I mean, it's a lot better. The literacy rate is a lot better than this rate. I mean.
Sure. Yeah, for sure. But I mean, we're still not like compared to other countries. Even America's definitely down low. Our education system.
Oh yeah, for sure. Our education system's fucked off.
And when you think about kids of the future, you know what I mean?
That's what I was saying, yeah.
Come on now.
I mean, I just feel like people are taking away from the education system now, thinking that they can control people in the near future. But my only question is that if you're able to do that, what's your plan for what happens when you die? And these people that you're training to just obey shit have to be the people that make other people obey shit. Because that's the system you're setting up. Somebody's always going to obey somebody. But once all the wise people leave this earth, and all the people who really aren't educated, that just know how to do shit that they're told to do, have to start telling people what to do, where's this place going to go? We just think that, it's like, we're just going to keep making shit and keep buying shit, consumerism and all this other shit. It's like, I mean, okay. Is that all y'all want out of life? Just fucking money, bro?
I mean, it's crazy to look at it now because in the past I'm just going off what you said, but the wealth gap, there was a big thing already talking about between like the poor and the rich. COVID came, it's making that a lot more of a difference. How many poor? Because think about this: you catch COVID, right? You got you're quarantined 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Most like unless you're Donald Trump who can get back in office in 3 days. If you work at any other place, you can't come back until you get a test.
A negative test, and the fact of the matter is that when you come back, while you're gone, you might not be guaranteed to get unemployment for your time off.
Exactly, and think about this: people who are getting by, check to check, right? Barely getting by. Think about this: some places you can't get free tests,
right?
Unless you have insurance, or just there are some things like also Pixel Lab Core, I believe what it is. I think if you're uninsured, they do. It's an at-home test that they can do for COVID.
If you're uninsured?
Yeah, if you have insurance or if you're uninsured, they will send you a free
I think
kit.
It's only free if you're insured, but I think they do.
No, because there's an option that says insured or uninsured.
And it's still zero when you press uninsured?
Sure. I mean, I would
What I'm saying is I think I was told that it was only zero if you're insured. But if that's the case, I will be wrong. If that isn't the case, I think it's $25 tops to get the at-home test.
Yeah, still not bad. But where I'm also at is most of these people, you got to pay for that test. You're out for 2 weeks. You're not getting paid for 2 weeks. That's a 2 weeks. That's a make or break you right there. You need that 2 weeks.
Yeah, and people live in paycheck to paycheck for sure, yeah.
You miss in 2 weeks, you're paying for a test. You already can't afford. These people are getting kicked out of their homes.
Yeah.
There's, it's inhumane at this point. You got to go. And guess what? Some of these bigger companies are already starting to buy out these places because the value is already low.
Real estate value?
Yeah, it's already low. So guess what? They're buying these, like real estate businesses are buying them out. About to start building like better, you know what I mean? Better skills. So now the wealth gap is going to start closing even more. It's like at what point too do we make a stand and say everyone deserves the right to to live?
What you're saying the wealth gap would open? I mean,
No,
close?
Like close as in like it between poor and rich. You know what I mean? It's like you're gonna have
the gap closing would mean that they would get
yeah, you're right.
So
okay, then it'd be bigger. The wealth gap would get bigger.
Just
be
open
bigger.
up wider.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
There I was.
Well, yeah. No, when I meant like close,
Are you sure
like,
about that?
Yeah,
I don't
no.
think it'll close.
Yeah, no, but it would just get the wealth gap would get bigger.
Right,
Exactly.
right.
The gap would get bigger. 100%.
And so in that, it's like I was watching the news the other day. It was like talking about the evictions going on just in Houston area and stuff like that. And he was like they had an interview with like the police officer that was actually like doing the evictions. He was like, man, I have a family of 4 kids and a wife. I'm a police officer. This isn't a great paying job. Not the highest paying job, at least. Not to feed four mouths and myself and my wife as well. And his wife has to work too to be able to like feed everybody and shit like that. And it's like, whenever he was talking about it, he's like, this is like probably the saddest day on the job I've ever had. Because these people don't deserve this shit. Most of them, at least. Don't get me wrong. There's people that were included in the Corona's like evictions that actually hadn't paid their rent in like 4 to 6 months, maybe a year type shit. And they were just getting loans and what's it called, loan protection and fucking I forgot what it's called, like eviction protection and stuff like that. So some people actually did deserve their evictions, like as always. But I'm not saying that in a position to say like to discredit anything. What I'm saying is that you have to be the person with a family to go in and kick a family out of the only thing that they have. Like there was one family that said that we don't even have a car. Like what we're doing, like to like it was they took all their shit out of the apartment, and
Yeah,
they were looking at their furniture and like stuff, and they were like, "You're not gonna take your stuff," and they were like, "With what? We don't have a car. We don't have anything. That's trash. All their belongings, just as trash. We have to treat it like that." Type shit, and it's fucked.
And the fact that people can look at them and say, "Oh, they should have done more."
That's fucked too, because it's like not even the people kicking these people out of their house are saying that, but you behind a screen and sitting in the comfort of your home, that knowing that maybe your parents pay for your fucking living type shit, but you have the availability to get on the internet and say whatever the fuck you want. Is people are so desensitized to the problems that go on in America. It's like oh, just because you're not dealing with a problem today or you're not affected by what I'm going through means that I should have tried harder or that I didn't do enough or that you even have a piece to say on anything that I did. That's where I'm saying. It's like maybe, just maybe, you could start speaking on these people's lives in a negative manner whenever you know them and know that they haven't done shit. But as soon as you start like talking about like random people or just like your average person type shit in a conceptual argument, I can't respect you. You're not even putting yourself in these people's shoes. You're speaking on somebody you've never met. That's fucked.
And it's always the people who aren't even doing anything to try and help or even
It's
put
the
in
people. It's the people that show up to work at 9 a.m., leave at 6, and act like they're doing something. So I put my time in. So
or even if you did work hard to get where you're at and you're super rich, wouldn't you want other people to kind of feel like some of the same successes you did?
right, and don't get me wrong. It's like there's a difference between helping someone understand their position in life and telling them their position in life, because it's like if you keep giving handouts, it's like the argument of saying like you can teach you can feed a man a fish and he won't be hungry for the rest of the evening, but you could teach a man to fish and he'll never starve again. It's like that's powerful because it's like you could be a government giving stimulus packages saying here, you're welcome. It's like don't get me wrong, it probably helps a lot of families, but at the end of the day, you're not providing opportunity. You're just giving $1,200 to people and saying that now you can call me daddy whenever you're ready. I'll be waiting. I'll be listening. I'm your daddy, right? I just gave you money for no reason. I'm your daddy. So go ahead and call me daddy because that's all I expect out of you. I control you because you were in a bind and I got you out of it. Now I mean it's a few months down the line. What if I'm still in a bind? Where's my daddy now? My daddy don't give a fuck about me now. He already gave a fuck about me back then. He already did what he needed to do. I don't get it, man. It's fucking weird.
On another note, too, to piggyback that is, there are some people, and it's like when we say you should work harder, you should get a better job, or you should try to do this and that. For some people, entrepreneurship is literally the only option. Because think about people who get felonies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Some people, when you talk about, they should be able to turn their life around. We don't even give people the chance.
We don't even give them the right to vote.
That's crazy, right?
It's crazy to me because it's
you're taking away someone's rights because.
Where I'm at, it's the reason it's crazy to me is because prison or even jail in itself is supposed to be, on paper at least, it's supposed to be a level of rehabilitation. It's supposed to be a level of you have done something that is against the law. You're gonna serve your time here as punishment. But while you're here, we don't want you to feel like a prisoner. We want you to rehabilitate yourself. The only reason people feel like prisoners is because of the complex that has been created by America that makes prison a business.
Slave camp.
Slave camp. Or to better further my argument, it's a business. People like wardens get paid to make sure shit happens in the jail, so people keep staying there. Or law enforcement gets paid more and more for each arrest, so that they can incarcerate.
I'll put this into perspective. Think about this. All right, let's say okay, look, this is a very specific and particular, but it's for the sake of the argument. Let's say this. You're poor. You grew up in poverty already, right? So that's all you know. You try to make your life better. Let's say, though, you have no food, nothing to eat. Let's say you have a child. Of course, you could say, oh, they made all these decisions. Sometimes life happens to you, though. Now you need food for your child, you need food for your family. You go and rob a place with a bunch of stuff. Now you have a felony on your record, you go to jail, your family's hungry, they're already struggling on their own. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Look, now you go into jail, you have a felony, you get out, you can't, like some places do help, like they have, for like felons and stuff, they'll offer jobs to people. And to those people who do that out there, kudos, like thank you so much for those people, because some people want to turn their life around and they need jobs to do better,
Right.
But okay, so now it's hard for you to get a job. You don't have any food, you're going back to a life, most of these people are going back into a neighborhood or going back into a life where it's the same thing, you know what I mean? and you don't have anything and the opportunities are very little, you don't even have the right to vote, guess what? When you're in jail, you're getting fed. You have a place to sleep.
Some people treat jails and mostly jails, prisons too. Once you've gone there, usually get comfortable with it, then it's more like a home. But some people treat jails as like a safekeeping, a safeguard. It's like basically where you go if you know that the streets are a more dangerous place for you, which in a lot of places they are. If you got so just to not even be so specific with what like as of a situation you said, but to be even more specific than that, there's been situations where kids have gone to jail, kids have gone to prison for drugs that weren't theirs, whether that means that they were either holding it for someone or it was planted on them by the police officer that arrested them, and then spent the rest of their life there. That has occurred. That's not so specific because of how often that happens, but it is specific in the actual situation itself. What I'm trying to say is that because like this is what I'm trying to say. Why is it that since we were little, we've always been told, "Oh, it's the end of the month, cops are out," because they have a quota, right? Why do cops have a quota? I mean, shouldn't they be protecting and serving? Why is there a certain amount of people they should be protecting and serving? A certain amount of people they should be putting in jail or ticketing? Why is that? Why does that exist?
Because if you're not patrolling the streets, you're not doing your job.
Well, you could be patrolling the streets, but if you're doing your job, the streets should not have crime on them. That's what it is. You should arrest and ticket every person that deserves it. But for you to have a number to meet, so you're on the streets more often at the end of the month, so try to catch some tickets or try to see if you got some drug charges in the car or shit like that. It's like, what are you doing?
You know, sometimes they give you promotions too if you get big busts.
That was another thing I was gonna say. It's like not just a big bust, but if you get like if for like 3 months in a row you're the leading ticketer of the department or the leading the department in arrests or whatever, promotion, pay raise, bonus. Why are we incentivizing incarceration? Not just because look, incarceration is necessary on certain occasions to, in my opinion, rehabilitate. Now, there's some people that need full-term rehabilitation. You could sit in that jail cell for the rest of your life if you're a rapist, if you've murdered someone in cold blood that was an innocent being. I can't speak I can't speak on all murderers because, in my opinion, if someone, I'm not a father yet, but if someone was to kill my child, I don't know if I would have the mental fortitude to stop myself from doing something like that. Because it's like without being put in those shoes, it's so hard to like see things from right or wrong. You know what I mean? If there was a person that raped your kid, are you gonna stop yourself after you bloody them, or are you gonna keep going without like lack of control? It's a question that you can't really answer till you're there. It's a question. Of course, I wouldn't. I have respect for all human life. Okay, that's something you get to say. Not ever being put in that position. It's difficult. But what I'm trying to say is there's some people that do deserve to be incarcerated. But I treat incarceration, in my opinion, it's supposed to be rehabilitation. If it's not being treated as rehabilitation, then why are you putting these people in jail? You're putting them in jail for what? So they can clean up your prison for $1 an hour? And then use all of those dollars at your prison to get some Cheetos or ramen? You're a fucking joke.
It's a system that almost seems like not fixable.
But the thing is that's the problem because it's fixable by so many accounts. Maybe not everywhere. I mean, of course, it's going to take implementation somewhere to start like a wave of change across the entire, not just country but world. But
it's a system that needs reform, and that's going to start with each of us. Individualism can be a bitch.
Yeah, I mean, because it's like we're supposed to treat America as a collective, but it's a collective of individuals, some more than others. And I don't mean that not everyone has the same level of individualism in themselves, and I mean not everyone cares about individualism in themselves.
it's going to take us a lot of time, especially if we want reform, if we want change. We also have to realize that I say it all the time, it's going to start with us. It's going to start with the people around us. It's going to start with realizing that anything that could happen could be you. It could be you. You could be that person. You never know. Life has twists and turns. You could die tomorrow. Your family member could die tomorrow. They could get shot, killed. You never know what's going to happen. So until you kind of
Or
take
something-
yourself
or
outside of
And something not so sudden, you could get wrongly convicted of something tomorrow.
Actually.
Be in a position that you feel just as defenseless as you see some of these people on TV or in the news.
you never know.
You never know, so you should always do what's best, not just for you, but the people around you, the community, the world. Do what you can, not what you must.
Sorry, can you say that one more time?
Do what you can, not what you must.
Do what you can, not what you must.
Boom. Because it's like, you must eat, you must sleep, you must do all this shit. So do that. But you can also do way more than you give yourself credit for. It's like Dwayne The Rock Johnson. This dude does so much shit. Kevin Hart does so much fucking shit. If you watch that documentary, you see how busy this life can really be. So who are you going to your 9 to 5, coming home, sitting on the couch talking about I don't got time, or I'm too tired, or this or that? It's like, maybe you should wake up earlier, go to sleep earlier, do whatever it takes so you can be the best you that you can be. Because nobody else is going to do it for you, blood.
We got time. It's gonna take every single person. It's gonna take all of us to realize it. And reform's not gonna come easy. It's not gonna come fast. It can't come fast enough. But it's not. It's not gonna happen right away. And
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, it's gonna take every single person. And I mean that's why we do this. That's what we're here for. So that everyone understands that it's more than just. Oh, it's kind of like the best way I can put it is, let's say you see someone like having a heart attack. Someone call 911. You should probably call 911 instead of expecting someone else to call 911.
Unless you're the doctor on the scene. It's like, do we have a doctor here? Unless you're the doctor that's there, no, you should be the one calling 911 for sure.
It's the bystander effect. Don't expect everyone else to do it. You should expect if you want something done right, do it yourself.
And also, it's like, maybe don't use that like in extreme situations. Like if there's a like hostage situation, don't be a hero. Don't be a hero. But
depending.
No, don't be a hero. Put your own. Like what I'm saying is like that's like in a situation where somebody has a gun to your head. Don't be the person that just gets shot, because I mean that's not really going to do anything for anyone. But if you can do something about it without completely losing your life, I mean, in my opinion, go get hurt. Like you could get hurt for a good cause. You could get beat up for a good cause. But if you know you're gonna lose your life, maybe don't step into that cause. Maybe. And I say depending is a good word, because there's situations where that it might be worth dying for.
If it's your family.
Yeah, for sure. What I'm saying is like I was speaking on specifics.
Yeah, for sure.
But that being said, you guys have all the power you give yourself. Don't let these people take it from you, because they will, and they won't give it back.
We'll wrap it up there. I hope
vote. Everybody go fucking vote. We have the power.
Hopefully.
We have the power.
Well, everybody, don't forget, we're always here if you need us. Message us, DM us. If there's something you think we should touch on, something you want to talk about, let us know. If you want to have discussions, feel free. That's what we're here for. We're here to build a community. We're here to have these discussions, have these talks, to figure things out, move forward, learn from each other, find our truths. It's not going to come easy. It's not going to come with us being silent either. So we need to have these talks. So please feel free if you want to have any discussions, any talks, anything you want us to talk about on here. Please do, because we're going to have so much more. We have a lot coming to you, a lot of different segments we're going to start doing. So just stay tuned, be ready.
Questions, comments, complaints, concerns, topics, anything, everything. Feedback always fucking welcome, man. You hit our line, we'll hit you back. You will be answered.
And you will be heard.
This is for the people!
By the people.
By the people!
All All right. Love all of you. Thank you so much. Please tune in next time. Take care, everybody. Take
Like,
care.
comment, subscribe.
Later.